Hello, everyone. So we are back with the session on advanced business communication, where we were discussing about the different barriers to communicate. Where we were discussing about the channels of communication, and we started with the para language. Now, if we talk about para language, what it was? Para language communication. So paralanguage means it is like a language only, but it is not actually a language. It is something where this paralanguage is something which is shown by the words you are speaking. Like right now you're listening to me. What paralanguage I'm using? I'm just increasing my volume, the use of annotations, the use of voice, the use of pitch, the use of pause, the use of volume, the use of stress on some specific words, and those all things are the part of paralanguage. At times we listen to people who speak softly, and all of a sudden they just raise their voice. What are they using? Which type of language are they using? They are using paralanguage. They are using paralanguage form of communication to communicate their message more effectively. Paralanguage is nothing but the use of different volumes which you are using when you are talking, when you are presenting yourself to other person. Paralanguage means like language but not actually a language. It helps to express and reflect the speaker's attitude. So what paralanguage is basically doing, it is helping a speaker to reflect his attitude, and it depends on voice, intonations, pitch, pause, volume, stress, gestures, and signals. Just 1 second. Yeah. So, see, if we talk about voice, how do we change our voice? We do change our voice, right? Changing our voice as in, we just voice. It's the first signal which a receiver gets when the person is expressing himself or herself. And a good listener can gauge a lot from the voice itself. A very small example of voice is, stop doing that. What does this voice mean? When you are raising your voice and you're saying something, that simply means you are just either getting angry on something, or you want someone to stop that right now, immediately. What are you doing? So here we are just politely asking. So this voice tells us a lot of things about what the sender is trying to explain, what the sender is trying to convey to other person. And that is why we say it is very important that we use our voice properly and effectively. A sweet voice, soft voice, musical voice, cultivated voice, pleasant voice. Sometimes we listen to someone's voice and we say, wow, the voice is so sweet. The voice is so soft. His voice is so pleasant. Why do we say that? Because every person has a different voice which they're using, and that is by default. And some people are very good. If we talk about the mimicry artists, what they do, they are very good in changing their voice. You cannot know what actually their voice is. So that can also be done. So a person can use variety of voices. A person can have their own one soft spoken voice. So this is voice. When you are aware about this paralanguage voice, you as a receiver can understand a lot of things about the speaker's background, about the mental state, their education, their temperament. They say many times, you say that the person, I think the person who is born and brought up in USA, his English and our English, it's very different. The accent is very different. What is that? The use of voice. We just when we are speaking, we can get to know that what is running in other person's mind. If we listen to their words, if we listen to their voice, we can get to know what he or she is trying to convey and what exactly he or she means when he says a sentence. The second thing is intonation. Intonation is basically the use of stress when you are speaking something. At times, you suddenly raise your voice, you lower down your voice, you speak high, you speak low. What is that? You are using the intonations. It is a very important and very effective part of communication. Intonation is something which is known as modulation of the voice and the shift in stress. You are modulating your voice, you are shifting the stress on different words from one word to another, and that is again known as intonations. For example, a message with a serious content should not be delivered in high tone but in a somber tone. Let's say the company has just now the company got a very bad news that the merger which was about to happen is now not happening. So this message cannot say, the merger which was about to happen, it's not happening now. No, it's not the tone which you are going to use when you are sharing this bad news. The tone is going to be the merger which was about to happen, it is not happening now. This is the use of intonation, adjusting the sound, adjusting the voice, putting the stress on the important words depending upon the content of that message, what you are trying to say. And along with that, on basis of the atmosphere surrounding in which you are, on basis of that, you use your language, you decide your language. So just a very small example which I gave you, that if the thing is very serious, there you are not going to use a high tone, rather you will be using a somber or a soft tone to deliver your message. Third is the pitch we use. High pitch, low pitch. Then pauses. Yes, this is something very important. Just listen. A pause emphasizes a message. A pause is to speech with a comma in the prose. A pause at the wrong place may lead to miscommunication. For example, the difference between fruit trees and fruit trees is vast. Without pause, don't you think that your mind is unable to understand what the other person read? Pause is given so that it gives time to the mind to understand what has entered into the ear, what he has just listened. So for that reason, it is very important to use proper pauses. Like the pause emphasize a message. A pause in the speech, a pause is to speech with a comma is to prose. A pause is for the speech, whereas the comma is to prose. Many times when we are speaking, all of a sudden we just take a long pause. Why we are taking the long pause? Because we want all the people, we want the audience to listen to us very carefully, because the message we are about to share now is very important. A pause at the wrong place may lead to miscommunication. For example, the difference between fruit trees and fruit trees is vast. We all know fruit trees. Both of them have difference. So you have to understand when to use the pauses, why to use the pauses, and how to use the proper pauses. Next is volume variation. The speaker should adjust the volume of his voice depending on the size of audience. Just assume you are sitting in a very small room and all of a sudden you are speaking very loudly, you're shouting and speaking. Is it the right way to address that gathering? No. When the room is small, when the audience is less, let's say only 2 or 3 audience or maybe 10 audience, you need to decide what volume variation you're going to use. Should you be louder? You should be softer, because for a small group of people, being soft is okay. You can still deliver your entire message even by lowering down your volume. So it is very important to understand when to raise your volume and to when to lower down your volume. Larger the audience, the louder the voice should be. Yes. See, if we have lot of people, if the audience is very large, then obviously the more the larger the audience, the louder the voice you are going to use. So volume variation makes the speech effective. This volume variation is going to make the speech very effective. Changing from loud to soft and from soft to loud have the desired effect. Yes. All of a sudden, just to grab the attention many times, even in the small group, just to get back the attention of the audience, people use the loud sound so that they can grab the attention of the people. They can make the people listen to you. So that is volume variation, changing from loud to soft or from soft to loud. Both way, for grabbing the attention, it is not important that you always use the louder tone. Let's say you are speaking loudly and all of a sudden, you suddenly speak softly. That is again the volume variation, which you can use to bring the focus of the audience to what you are speaking. The sixth point comes here is mixed signals. What are the mixed signals? The tone, the pitch, the facial expression of the speaker do not match the word he is speaking. So this confuses the listener as to exact motive of the speaker. The speaker speaking loudly, his facial expressions are very angry, but the word he is speaking are they soft words? So how we are going to understand what exactly the person is trying to say, and this leads to miscommunication. That is why many times you might have seen that people come out of the room with a confused mindset. They do not understand what happened. So what is the reason for that? The reason for that is this mixed signals which they are getting, and there is no symmetry. The signals are not aligned with the words they are speaking. The tone, pitch, and facial expressions are entirely different compared to the words the other person is speaking. So you have to understand that when you are communicating, if you want your communication to be strong, if you want your communication to be good, you have to understand that your facial expressions, your tone, your pitch should match with the words you are speaking. So it is important that you have to understand that whenever we are speaking, many times I've told you, a wrong posture, a wrong gesture, wrong movement of the face along with the words you're speaking creates miscommunication. Same way, if you're using a wrong tone, if you're using the wrong pitch and facial expression which are not supporting to the words you are speaking, it is going to create the confusion in the mind of the listener that what exactly your motive is, what exactly you want. And this confused listener will either get the half information or get the wrong information. For example, an individual may congratulate another, but his tone may be cold. In this case, the listener will not be sure whether the speaker is really happy or is merely fulfilling the formality. Like many times we hear people congratulating us congratulations for your success. So what it is, either he's happy or he's just been forced to congratulate you because he's just sitting with a group of people where each and every person is congratulating you. So it becomes really very difficult to understand that what the other person is having in his mind. So make sure you are not using the mixed signals where the words are speaking something else, but your expression, voice, tone, intonation, pitch is saying something else. The seventh thing is overall impression. A message is understood by the listener not only by the content but also by the manner in which the speaker conveys it. Do you think if the speaker is conveying in a very normal tone, you are going to understand that thing? No. The complete message and the right interpretation of the message is the combination of the content he is speaking along with the way in which he is speaking. So you have to understand that you need to have the hold on the words along with the control over the tone, the paralanguage signals which you are sending along with your content. The speaker bearing, attitude, dressing style, physical appearance, age, gender, accent, and the quality and tone of the voice affect the message. You know, many times the speaker is very good. He is very attractive. He is very good with the content. He is presentable, but his dressing style is not good. His physical appearance is not good. His attitude is not good. You know, people won't be interested in listening to that person. So in that situation, it is very important that you have control over those feelings and you know when to use which expression. If you are going and presenting yourself as a manager in front of your team, you need to make sure that you are looking good, your dressing style is good, you're using the right accent, you are having the control over the tone, the stress, the intonation which you will be using along with the content you will speak. So for a message to be effective, the overall impression given by the individual should be in consonance with the message. There should be symmetry, the expressions, the non-verbal form of communication should align with the content you are speaking. Next, what are the advantages of paralanguage? The advantages of the paralanguage is, you know, until and unless you do not speak a word, you cannot use paralanguage. It is directly related to the use of words which you are doing when you are speaking, the sentence, the phrases, the words which you are speaking. When you speak at that point of time only, you use this paralanguage. So it is closely connected to language itself. Second is paralanguage indicates the position and situation of the speaker, whether in an organization or in a society. Let's say you just got a call from a person who is into the hospital. By listening to his voice, you'll get to know that no, something has happened. He is not fine. You may ask that thing. How you got to know that? By his voice, by the paralanguage which he has used while he was communicating with you. So it is very important that when you are speaking, you use the right language. And this is the best advantage of paralanguage, that even if person doesn't speak up, his non-verbal sign can make us understand about his situation. Whether it's in the organization or it's in the society, this paralanguage indicates the position and the situation of the speaker, that with what the person is going through. Many times you see a person in the office, he's sitting, he's working, he's talking properly. Yes. So the third advantage is it also reflects the speaker's personality and background to a great extent. You know, by the tone he is using, you can know the background. You know, there are some people who always speak loudly. So you can just identify, you know, many times, don't you think that when you are into the organization or when you are into the college, just by listening to what the other person is saying, you used to say, I think he belongs from this place. I think he belongs from this place. Like if I talk about Rajasthan. So there is a tone, when we speak, we get that accent in our language. By default, that accent comes. So why that is coming? Because by listening to that, we are from a place where we have been using that accent since childhood, and that is there in us by default, because we have been listening to that accent, we have been speaking in that accent, we have been talking in that accent. So that is why we say that it is very important to focus on this para language when you are listening to someone, because with that, most of the time you will get to know about the speaker, you will get to know who is the speaker, you will get to know what is his background, from you will have rough idea from where he belongs. Let's say if a person just talks to us in English, listening to our accent, he can easily say that, oh, we belong from India. If we are talking to a US person, we can identify listening to his accent that, okay, he belongs from that place. Same way, even if we are speaking in our mother tongue, let's say, if we talk about Gujarati, whatever language they're using, by default, they'll get this che word in it, because that they use in every sentence when they're speaking in their native language. So with that, you can easily know their background that, okay, I think they belong from Gujarat. Now, if we talk about Jharkhand side, they have very, very loud voice. They speak very fluently, and they, for them we say that khadi bodi, that is there over there. So there again, you can easily know the people belong from there. So from different places, people will have different accent. They will have different ways of speaking. Their voice, everything will differ, and that identification will help you to identify the personality of that person. Along with that, it will help you to know the background of that person. It indicates, it is indicative of the mental state of the speaker. Along with that, it also indicates the mental state of the speaker, that, okay, what is the mental state? Like what mentality is carrying when he is talking to you. A person who is having the mentality of influencing you will be using his tone in that way. Yes, you're absolutely right. But I don't think we should go for this. Can we go for this? What he's doing, he's just using a soft voice, and he's accepting whatever you're saying, but then again coming back to convince you with what he's thinking. What is it? You can know the mentality. Okay, no matter whatever happens, whatever we are saying, whatever figures and facts we will place, this person is only going to focus on his own thing. So how you got to know? Whether the person spoke to you. He told you that, no, I am here to influence you. He didn't do anything like that. He simply used his skills, which was shown in the voice, which was shown in the tone he was using. So these are the advantages of paralanguage, that you can know the background, personality. It can indicate the mental status of the people. It will tell you the position and the situation of the speaker, and it is very closely connected to the language which you are using. Though it is not the language, but it is connected to the language. Now, what are the limitations? Limitations of the paralanguage says paralanguage is semi or like a language. It is not a language. This is the limitation, that it is not a language. It is like a language which can only be used when you are speaking, when you are using the words. Until and unless your mouth is shut, you cannot use paralanguage. If we talk about other non-verbal languages, the gestures, postures, facial expression, we can use this even if our mouth is shut. But if we talk about paralanguage, we cannot use this language until and unless we are not opening our mouth. We can only use this paralanguage when we are going to use the language, when we are going to speak up something, and that is the limitation of this. It is a semi or like a language. It is not a language by itself. Yes, it has no existence until and unless we are not using a language. If you think that without speaking a word, you can use this as a language, no. It is not a language until and unless we are not speaking a word. Paralanguage involves the drawing of conclusion on the basis of number of variable attributes. It involves the drawing of conclusion that yes, it involves the drawing of conclusion on basis of number of variable attributes that can be wrong also. Paralanguage may be misleading or confusing at times. Yes, it may be misleading. Let's say the person is there to show his sorrow. You know, he has gone through a bad day and he just want to show his sorrow to you, but he is unable to do that. Why? Because he is expressing the sorrow, but by default his voice is loud only. He cannot speak softly. So it will look like the person is fighting. So this paralanguage at times misleads you about the intention of the speaker. A person who is just talking to you, but he by default has a loud sound, and you, as soon as he started speaking loudly, you thought that he is trying to rule over me, he's trying to control me, and you took it as an argument, though it was just a discussion from his end. So that is, paralanguage may be misleading or confusing at most of the time. Different backgrounds, cultures, and situation may make difficult to draw the conclusion. Whether different backgrounds, different cultures, different situation may make it difficult to draw the conclusion, may make it difficult to conclude the things. So these are the limitations of paralanguage. So with this, we have finished off with the paralanguage, that is the another form of non-verbal communication. Now, we are going to talk about more different types of non-verbal communication. Like till here, we have talked about body language, we have talked about paralanguage, we have talked about kinesis. Now we'll be talking about the space, the surrounding, and silence. How space, surrounding, and silence act as a form of non-verbal communication. What do you think? How these act as a form of? Can space tell you things? Can space communicate? Yes. You know, when you are going for the interview, and if you are just pulling your chair far away from the person, it will show that you are nervous. You are a person who is afraid, and you are very afraid of sitting in the interview room. So how you got to know? The person didn't tell anything, but still you got to know about that thing, and the reason for knowing that thing was the space which he created between you and her. Two persons standing too close to each other, talking to each other, they are close to each other, they know each other, maybe they have a friendly bond with each other. Two persons standing far from each other, that means they are behaving a bit professional, they may not have that close bond with each other. So that is how space, sound, surroundings, silence also communicate along with the words you are saying. Very good proverb which we have been listening. Mere silence means acceptance. If you are keeping quiet with whatever is happening around you, it is considered that you have accepted it. It's a yes from your end. And how we got to know that? Because of the silence which you were carrying with you. So again, it is very important to focus on these body language. These things looks to be very simple. Just think, you listen to a person who is just sitting straight, who is not using the face, not the hands, nothing, no body movement, no expression, no gestures. Would you be interested in listening to such kind of speaker? No. This body language, gestures, a facial expression, all these things are the things which grabs our attention, which grabs the attention of the people who are listening to you. And that is really very important. Until and unless you cannot grab the attention, your speech, your presentation, your content, everything is zero. You should know how to grab the attention of the audience. You should know how to grab the attention of the receiver. And these non-verbal language which you use while delivering your content plays a very important part to communicate with other person. These are the things which help you to present yourself strongly. Many times people might not understand the words which you are speaking, but with your body language, they get to know the real context of the message which you are trying to share. Because I have been telling you since beginning that most of the part of the communication depends on the non-verbal communication which we use when we are communicating. That is almost 55% of the communication is done by non-verbal signs. Your body movements, your gesture, your posture, your accent, your intonations, your pause, your stress, everything together combines and deliver an effective message. It is very important to understand all these factors and work accordingly and train yourself in such a way that you present yourself in an effective way, which makes your message clear, which removes all the scope of miscommunication and makes your message effective, easy for the receiver to understand. Right? You know, many times we don't speak anything, just in our eyes, just by our facial expression gestures, we communicate with each other. How that is possible? That is possible because of the non-verbal sign which we are using. Our eyes, you know, the movement of this eyes, this speaks a lot. You're not speaking. What is this? What I did? I just asked, what's up? What happened? So this is what. It's having these lines. What did I'm going to stress? Having low eyes. I'm ashamed. I'm feeling shy. So these are all these small things, but each and every act which you are doing, each and every movement which your body, your hand, your eyes, your forehead, your face is making carries a deep meaning in it. And you, being a speaker, has to use this thing, and the receiver should understand these languages. Always make sure whenever you are speaking, whenever you are presenting, you are using the combination of non-verbal and verbal communication, because many times people do not understand the words you are speaking, and many times people do not understand the non-verbal sign of communication which you are using. So you have to be very thorough. You have to understand all these things very closely, and this is only possible with practice. The best way to practice non-verbal signs of communication is stand in front of the mirror, look at yourself, talk to yourself. You will find out how your body is reacting, how your body is supporting the words you are speaking. Let's say I'm speaking something and I'm having these lines. What you will understand, whether I'm happy, the content which I'm speaking is good, but on the other hand, I'm having these lines on my head. Won't you get confused with what is happening? Definitely yes. See, now I'm back to normal. I'm not having those stress lines on my head. The lines on the stress says you are, the lines on the forehead says you have stress. Your dull eyes, dull faces, you are going through tension, or you are not happy, something happened with you. So these are these small things which conveys a lot of message, which conveys lot of things about the words, about the intention of the speaker. You know, many times you're just being saved from the fraud. Why? How you are being saved from any fraud to happen to you? Because though the other person is just very smart in convincing you and conveying the thought, but you just notice that whatever he's speaking, his body language is not supporting. There is some problem, something wrong in it. And that is the point. By understanding the non-verbal sign of those people, you easily save yourself from any kind of fraud. So try to understand these languages and use this language, use the non-verbal language as much as you can. It is a skill which you need to develop. When we talk about communication skill, presenting yourself is again one of the most important skill, which is the part of communication. Prepare yourself for that. Now, in the next session, we'll be discussing about another 3 types of non-verbal communication. With this, we have come to the end of the session. Bye bye. Have a wonderful day.